What is up, YouTube? I am Reckless, and I am bringing you what I consider to be one of my finer competitive gameplays. Obviously it's not game battles or anything like that, but it was in league play, and it wasn't a placement match. I was actually ranked, so and I think we were against a team as well, which is the only reason they didn't rage quit. So it wound up being a really good game. I got 41 kills. I went 41 and 19. I didn't have the most caps, but I did top the scoreboards still. But I wound up playing the anchor role, and I did a very good job at it actually. But you'll see me pull out the sub here, but then I pull the AR back out here in a minute. But I wanted to post some competitive gameplay because what I wanted to talk about today has to do with competitive Call of Duty. So if you're not interested in that, enjoy the gameplay, and if you want to hear what I have to say, then stick around. To be honest, some Ghosts Clan versus Clan probably would have been more relevant to today's topic, but I can't for the life of me get a good gameplay on that because people keep quitting, either on my team leaving me alone or making it completely not fun and having the enemy team quit. It's people, you need to learn. You're getting 2 rants for the price of 1 today. You people need to learn how to lose without being complete losers. I mean, in a lot of instances, people are leaving and then getting put back in the same game. That means you're getting 2 losses instead of 1. Do the math. So on to the topic today, the X Games. Oh my gosh, Call of Duty at the X Games. What? Okay, so if in case you live under a rock and you don't know what obviously if you know what Call of Duty is, if you're watching this, sorry, I am very tired. If you don't know what X Games is, it is Extreme Games. That's what X Games stands for. Extreme Games. Okay? I just want to get that very clear. So this year, competitive Call of Duty is going to be at the X Games, and this is actually surprising that they chose Call of Duty to be the first ever televised MLG event ever in history to be televised. I mean, it's crazy. And as to why, I mean, there are tons of people, Counter-Strike people, a bunch of people say, Call of Duty can't be played competitively, but that is a whole different story for a whole different day. Today's video is just specifically about a video game being played at the X Games. Didn't have to be Call of Duty, could have been Counter-Strike, could have been League of Legends, could have been whatever. Just the fact that a video game was going to be professionally played for an actual X Games medal at the X Games. And this has just caused the most commotion out of... I personally would have thought that people would have been more happy. But first, I'm going to look at all sides of this and then give you my opinion, because that's what I love to do, because I'm so opinionated on all of it. So, the thing that people keep bringing up is the definition of the word sport. And it is... I'm looking at my dictionary right now. It is an activity involving physical exertion and skill in which a player or individual or team competes against another or others for entertainment. So what's causing this uproar, you may ask? It's to those 2 little pesky words in there. Physical exertion. And they keep saying, oh, they're sitting at a controller. You know, there's no blood, sweat, and tears. These other people are skateboarding. And by the way, if you're wondering what extreme sports are classified, what sports games are classified as extreme, it's skateboarding, BMX biking, basically like everything under the sun that, you know, isn't a common sport. So like I said, a lot of people are even diehard Call of Duty fans are coming out of the woodwork now, and they're in such an uproar about this, saying, oh, when I was younger and in high school, I used to play football or basketball, and I was injured, and my back still doesn't work properly, and now these kids are coming along and saying that they're athletes, and that they're playing a sport, and blah-de-blah-de-blah. Okay, I can understand what you're saying. I used to be a skateboarder as well. For my entire youth, I actually did skateboard and had a bunch of injuries. Luckily, I never broke anything or had anything serious, but I was a skateboarder. I don't care. I mean, that's what the X Games are. Okay, and so here are my things are. If physical exertion doesn't mean that you have to be constantly, putting your life at risk. Physical exertion, these people grind so hard, stay up, stream for 12 hours a day. That is insane. Like to sit there and play a video game. I mean, it's their job. I would go insane if I had to play the same game, not just video games in general. People are like, I could play video games all day. The same video game, not only that, but the same few maps and the same few game modes for that long against other people with the same 4 people. You don't think that that's physical exertion? I'm sorry, but I have to disagree. And the reason that I brought up the fact that I was a skateboarder when I was younger is because I remember how frustrating it was. The whole reason there is an X Games is because of people who play what were the bigger sports, and I mean they still are, like football and basketball, things like that. And they're like, oh, rollerblading isn't a sport, and skateboarding isn't a sport, and riding back and forth on a vert ramp on a bicycle isn't a sport. And it was insulting to hear those things. And now that, and because they were new, because they were not traditional, things like that. And now we're doing the exact same thing to this new generation. And yeah, it seems like it's a step down. And like I said, I can understand why people are kind of saying these things, but I just don't think it's fair to call the thing that they work extremely hard on to say that that's nothing. And we're getting too tied up on the definition of sport, and it's just I don't know. I think it's all just blown out of proportion. And what makes it even crazier to me are the people who say, oh, well, I can call it an e-sport, but I can't call them e-athletes. That's just getting a little bit too ridiculous for me. No, this whole argument is being ridiculous. Why? And here's the bigger question. Why are people not looking at the good that this can do? Why don't you all just shut your mouths and let this play out? Because we're actually getting some exposure. Even if you don't like Call of Duty and you think that your video game should be the one being played for the first time on television and whatnot, just it's a step in the right direction no matter what game it is, because people who never even knew that you could play a video game professionally are going to be exposed to this and be like, oh wow, there's this whole world that I didn't even know about. So why are we talking about all of this and not being more excited about it? I can understand if you're not a gamer. That's definitely one thing. If you're not a gamer, then I can understand why this would be strange to you and why you possibly wouldn't like it. Although I don't understand why you would still make it into the big deal that everyone's making it into. But if you are a gamer, then why aren't you psyched about this? I don't know. Those are just my opinions, and like I said, this was a very opinionated video, but that's the end of my rant. If you want to check out the X Games and watch Call of Duty, this is a monumental moment for esports. So if you're interested, I will put a link to all of the times for all of the teams. A lot of the, almost all of the big names are going to be there. FaZe, Optic, Evil Geniuses, who were formerly Complexity, Envious, and a few other teams. Like I said, I'll post the times and the rosters and things like that. I'll put a link to that in the description below. As far as the channel, it is the X Games, so it is going to be on ESPN. I'm not sure which one, if it's on the main one or the second or third or fourth. I know there's like a million of them. So check your local listings, or it could also be possibly in the link. I haven't checked. I haven't read the whole article yet, but yeah, check that out as well. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Where you fall on this issue, or if it's even an issue, is it being blown out of proportion? I know that it's a new thing, so a lot of people are stating a lot of opinions right now, so don't hate on me too much for expressing mine. If I could get a rating on this video, a like would always be appreciated, especially considering how many feeds were in this. Did you see that? That was crazy, all the triples and even a quad in there and stuff like that. Crazy kills, crazy. If I get a like, that would be cool. But if not, as always, that's cool as well. This has been Reckless, guys. Take it easy or don't take it at all. Peace.
Tick-tock, nephew. Time's almost. Enemy has Bravo.